Bitcoin struggles. Despite plenty of good news last week, BTC didn't do much until it all went wrong on Monday morning. Flash crash. December gets off to a stinker as fears around another yen carry trade unwind hit the market like a post-Thanksgiving hangover. We break down what's going on. Another Layer 1? One of the most hyped launches of the year finally goes ahead, but many are now wondering whether we've reached market saturation. And a look at last week's top performers, tweets of the week, TA with Lewis, an update on the portfolio competition, and much more besides. This is the Coin Bureau News, live.
GM, one and all, happy Monday. It's that time of the week again, the Coin Bureau Weekly News live stream. My name is Nick. Guy, how you doing?
Is it a happy Monday? I mean,
I'm trying to lighten the mood, man. I'm trying to lighten the mood a little bit, yeah.
We've really leaned into the redness of it. Not only have we got this sort of ominous backdrop, but you are once again wearing arguably the most famous tracksuit in crypto.
Exactly. Just dressed in exactly the sentiment this morning. I woke up, I looked at the charts, and I was like, I know exactly what I'm wearing today, and it's comfortable. I'm chilled.
Your outfit chose itself.
Yeah.
Well, I maintain, Nick, that your failure to get yourself a green one of these largely explains why we have not had the explosive end to the cycle.
I have tried as much as possible to source a green one, and unfortunately these have all been discontinued, which can mean they're so garish and ugly that nobody wants to buy them, or they're sold out and they can't buy them anymore. I mean, whatever.
Well,
we've got to source one. We've got to make one, maybe.
I think we do. I think it may be the only thing that can save this market right now.
Coin Bureau merch store idea.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Good to see you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Before we crack on, goodness, our like thing has gotten a bit wedged out of shape. Don't forget to hit the like button. You can see down there below Nick, there's a little progress bar. If we get to 100% on that, what are we going to do this week?
This week, I mean, people don't want to hear us talk about the portfolio, really, because everyone's portfolio is in toilets. So maybe we can, if we hit 1,000 likes, we will get you to wear something in the next stream.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we could get you to wear an Aussie stash, an Aussie Bogon stash. You know those ones, because you were recently in Australia, right?
That's right. I was recently in Australia.
And you said that many people rock that stash.
There was some incredible facial hair going on in Australia. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. If we get to 1,000 likes for this stream, for next week's stream, I will shave this wonderful, well-kept beard of mine into a proper Aussie tash, and I may even throw a bit of Aussie accent analysis in there as well, if you're very lucky. So get ahead and hit that like button if that's what you want to see. I mean, why wouldn't you want to see
guys.
that?
Come on, man. That's why they'd want to tune into the stream. Who cares about the crypto knowledge when they can get you to wear an Aussie stash?
They just want to see dodgy facial hair. That's it. Okay, so do hit that like button. Let us know in the comments how you're feeling, whether you're feeling good, whether you're feeling bad, or whether you just want to tell us where you're watching from. Drop a comment and keep the conversation going.
And don't forget, at the end of the stream, we've still got that portfolio competition going on. We've got a portfolio. It's slightly diminished over what happened last week, but it's still above $4,000. That's available for you to win. So stick around till the end so you can see what's left, and we can also decide on what we want to allocate to this week. Cool.
Okay.
So last week, let's go back to the price of Bitcoin last week and run through exactly what happened. Firstly, Monday last week, as you'll recall, we opened up a CME gap, and it was a pretty big gap. So guess who's back? The CME gap, 85.2 to 85.9K. And it was also one of the quickest closes of the CME gap, where it closed exactly on the same day on Monday. Red candles all the way back down to the gap. So that was prescient on Monday. Tuesday, we had some economic data. 2 data points. We had the PPI numbers, the producer price inflation, which came in as expected. And we also had the ADP employment numbers. And the ADP numbers showed a big drop in employment for the week ending November 8th.
Okay.
So these two pointed to a softening economy with inflation at about stable levels, which therefore was positive for rate cut optimism. On top of that, you also had dovish tones coming from other Fed governors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so a sense that some in the Fed believe, quite a few in the Fed believe that they should be cutting rates again.
Exactly. Two of Powell's previous allies. And then we also had optimism about a potential Fed pick, and Trump said that Kevin Hassett could be the front runner. So he now currently works in the White House, and he's quite dovish, and he's being quite critical of the Fed. So markets therefore rallied in anticipation of this. We saw the probabilities of rate cut rise to about 84% in December.
Okay, so this is a Fed. This is not a Fed insider. This would be an outsider coming in to run the Fed.
Yeah, he definitely is.
If
Yeah,
it is him.
he wasn't a governor, so he'll come straight from the White House. So
Interesting.
No doubt an ear in from Trump there.
Okay, so by Wednesday we were kind of getting into the run up to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And there was what with that Fed news and stuff, there was a fair bit of optimism in the air.
Yeah, exactly. Above 90K, which is quite unusual because we haven't had a Bitcoin rally prior to Thanksgiving in most of the 6 of the past 7 years. We've always had declines. So it was kind of quite interesting development there. And then we also had some wild news coming from Tether.
This is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is crazy. So Tether is basically the largest buyer of is this Bitcoin or gold?
This is gold.
This is
gold. The amount of gold being bought, and Tether has bought more than some central banks. So it's crazy.
So there's a lot of talk around Tether at the moment. A lot of people were sort of quite disquieted to hear that Tether was, buying so much gold. Obviously, gold is a fairly safe asset, but it's a lot more volatile than, say, US Treasuries, which is what they back the majority of USDT in circulation with. So, people love a good kind of Tether conspiracy, don't they? Conspiracy theory. They love to kind of speculate that one day Tether is all going to come crumbling down.
The Tether truthers. Yeah, the Tether truthers been around since 2017. And it seems like Arthur Hayes is feeding the fuel to that fire now with something he mentioned over the weekend. Okay. But we'll get back to that in a bit. Now, some other positive news on Thursday. One was that the NASDAQ wanted to boost the options cap for the IBIT ETF options. And this is very bullish because it means that there's now 40 times more room for institutional derivatives exposure. So for these funds to basically structure lots of different interesting financial products. And one of those was JP Morgan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. JP Morgan, usually famously bearish on Bitcoin. Yeah. Jamie Dimon is. Actually, JP Morgan itself has adopted blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. And this structured product basically would give uncapped returns if Bitcoin's price remains below a certain level in 2026, but rallies strongly by the end of 2028. And they say this is a kind of a structured product which gets you a payoff if you believe in the 4-year cycle. So. If you believe in fairy tales about the 4-year cycle and you believe in that it's going to continue, you can enter the structured product for their institutional clients. So that's, again, the institutionalization of Bitcoin, which is interesting.
Okay. So, and then taking us into Friday, it seemed like the CME went a bit hard on Thanksgiving, overdid it perhaps, because they had an outage, right?
An outage, an overheating at their main data center outside there in Chicago.
Right.
And it opened up a bit of a gap, but it was closed very quickly.
Okay.
And Bitcoin managed to keep up the momentum, though, climbing above 92,000 before the weekend.
Yeah, it was all looking pretty positive. Mind you, the weekend brought us finally to the end of November, the worst November since 2019 for BTC. Don't even ask about other cryptos. It was pretty brutal. So there was that to sort of chew over. Plus, Michael Saylor has been tweeting again. Now, what's going on here?
So basically, he tweeted, what if we start adding green dots? Okay. Now, this is the Saylor tracker. And the Saylor tracker historically has always, every time he was telegraphing a Bitcoin buy or he made a Bitcoin buy, there would be an orange dot at the price of that buy. Okay. This time he said, what if we start adding green dots? Now, Guy, let's speculate. What do you think he could mean by green dots?
Well, Bitcoin Cash?
Bitcoin Cash, maybe. He's a Bitcoin Cash maxi. He's pivoting. He's joining Roger Ver on the Bcash train.
Yeah, let's not rule. I kind of think that might be a little far-fetched, but
maybe it's telling us to go and touch grass. Or the most plausible one could be that he could be doing buybacks, MSTR buybacks. Okay. So we'll have to see. Let us know if it happens during the stream, if Saylor announces anything, because that's what it could be telegraphing. We don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
And then it was all looking okay by Sunday evening. And then in the early hours of Monday morning, this is me, live look of me. That's exactly how it looked, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, how did this even happen? So it seems, all hell broke loose. Bitcoin collapsed from like 91K down to 87K in a matter of a few hours. And it mostly seems to have been driven by a disaster with JGB yields, which we will be talking a bit more about in the next section.
Yeah. So this is Japanese government bonds. It seems like the yen carry trade may be back, but as Nick says, we'll get onto that in a bit. So what can we look forward to this week? We have got some more data because the FOMC meeting is heading towards us like a runaway train.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So in terms of economic data, we've got the PCE numbers. So these are the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, which is the Fed's preferred inflation measure. And that's coming out, and we'll get onto that as well in a bit. In terms of price action and price charts, not looking too good, bruv. On the monthly chart, this is interesting. So this is basically the monthly chart with the MACD there, the moving average convergence divergence, and it's flashing a rare bearish momentum signal. And essentially, we've got a MACD crossover on the monthly chart, which we haven't had since the previous cycle. And in the past, this has marked the start of a cold bear market. So, I mean, the past doesn't always repeat, but it does rhyme. So we'll have to see. That's on the monthly. So monthly chart is losing momentum. On the weekly chart, we've had a third weekly close below the 50-week moving average, which is many people have used as a benchmark for the bull market momentum and support. And we've today just bounced off of our currently on top of the 100-week exponential moving average, right? So this could be a support level at 85K. We had about 86 now. 85K is at the support of the 100-week exponential moving average.
Okay, but if we break below that support level, then the next stop is 82K.
82K, exactly. Then that's for two very good reasons. One on-chain, and that is the fact that it's the place of the cost basis for all active investors. So it's the active investor price. It's a representative cost model for all coins acquired on secondary markets. And it's also the cost basis for IBIT's, BlackRock's IBIT ETF for all buyers in the market. So watch these key levels, guys. Okay. And then below that...
below that is Goblin Down.
We don't talk about that.
Yes. But, I mean, we may be talking about that on next week's stream. Who knows? I've got to say it's looking pretty dicey at the moment. I kind of feel we're probably headed lower from here. But, I mean, we'll discuss this
in a bit,
detail in
but
a few minutes.
If you guys are looking to trade these markets, then we couldn't think of a better place to do it than on TooBit. It's one of our first brand partners. It's a top-tier international exchange. We're currently offering Coin Bureau viewers over 90K worth of trading rewards alongside VIP Level 1 upgrade, which gets you 50% off trading fees for life. They've got a solid interface, deep liquidity, and competitive fees. And the onboarding is super simple, guys. All you need is an email address. You can just scan the QR code right there or hit the link in the description. Just an email, go and try it out, play around, see if it works for you. And if you do want to take advantage of the offers we've got on, then you can deposit and do so. Again, the link down below or the QR code. And thanks to TooBit.
Yes, thanks to TooBit. Great work. Okay, Nick, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of the sentiment. I think it can probably be summed up by one of the earlier comments from Stefan. This is the end. Cockroach is dying. Oh, dear.
Gosh.
Oh, dear.
Oh, my God. The honey badger's dying. The cockroach. Oh.
This space is crazy. 40 to 46K at the bottom.
Oh, that's a bit far, bro.
Someone's just saying RIP Guy. I mean, I hope that's not a threat. Meanwhile, as SBAM 4881 is, I'm looking more at ETH, hoping to get in at 2.5K on the day of Fusaka, which I think is the 5th. Certainly this week.
Yeah, that's Tom Lee's alt account. Cool.
And Hunchback is saying, question for Guy, should Bashir come in for Mark Wood? Gabba may need a bit of spin. I thought Mark Wood was injured. But yes, I think we do need a spinning option because I don't think we can rely on Joe Root for a bit of spin. And four quicks and
sorry,
I've slipped into cricket.
Since when did we allow cricket answers on the Coin Bureau live stream? This is crypto, bro.
And I think this is in response to Sailor, the green dots. Maybe he's going to buy Pepe.
Ooh, that could be interesting. Yes.
Maybe.
Pepe.
All right, so I think it's time we dug into what the F just happened earlier today. As Nick said earlier, Dubai time, morning. We're getting ready for a nice morning routine.
Start of the first month.
Yeah, and suddenly it's just like it's like a bomb's gone off in the chart. So not exactly the way we wanted to start the month. So we thought we'd look a little bit deeper into what exactly is going on. There is a bit of nuance here. It's we've kind of mentioned those Japanese government bonds, so we should dive into that a bit more. But there's maybe a bit more than meets the eye. But let's start off with something Nick posted earlier.
Yeah, I posted this yesterday, and I firstly said, last day of November, worst November for Bitcoin since 2019. Look on the bright side. December can only be better.
Bookmark that.
No, I did caveat. I did caveat with a follow-up thread. I was like, unless, and that's the reason for the 3 dots. I knew that something was cooking. Because this happened exactly in October. Worst month ever. Worst month so far.
You haven't been in this space for coming on 10 years without learning that lesson.
Oh man, yeah. We start in December in the red, guys. It's basically the 4.85% of monthly return already. So what caused this crash? And firstly, I'll direct you guys, if you're not following our Telegram channel, we now basically are putting a lot of updates and analysis and alpha in this Telegram channel as well. And in this post today, there you can scan that QR code to go and follow us on Telegram. But in the post today, we basically did a complete breakdown of exactly what happened with this market dump. And there's a few factors which we will be covering now as well. But just in case you guys are not following the Telegram, you can scan that QR code right now.
Yeah.
But it seems that the conventional wisdom here was that Japanese bond yields, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the concern is that the yield on Japanese bonds is going to rise because the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, is eyeing another rate hike. Now, if this sounds familiar, this is because we had a kind of similar scenario to this last year, didn't we? I think it was August last year. The Bank of Japan has kept interest rates ridiculously low for years because of the frankly astonishing levels of debt that Japan has. I think it's 250% of GDP or something like that. So with the result that obviously a lot of people have gone and borrowed yen at ridiculously low rates in order to pump it into all sorts of other assets. But this means that even a small nudge nudge upwards in Japanese interest rates is going to cause carnage, and this appears to be what's happening again, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, firstly, the expectations for a December 19th, that's when the BOJ decides. The expectations in terms of bond market pricing and futures is there's a 76% chance of an increase in rates. So, prior to that, we had a spike in the 2-year Japanese government bond yields, and these are a good proxy for the short-end rates, which the BOJ usually targets. So that was a spike in that, and that's obviously feeds onto the carry trade because people are borrowing in lower terms, right?
Yeah.
And then also yen strength. So if you're borrowing in yen, and if yen strengthens, the cost of your borrowing goes up.
Yeah.
So that's what we had. We had a sell-off in risk assets, we had a sell-off in crypto, and then also stock futures and a rally in gold. And get this, guys, silver breaking all-time highs.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? Silver. You invested in the future of digital internet money. And the poor man's gold is outperforming you to all time.
Just don't. I mean, yeah, there's a lot here, isn't there? Your friend Peter Schiff, I say your friend because you interviewed him recently. He said he was a nice chap.
He's a nice guy. He's got strong opinions, let's say.
Yeah.
But he did say Peter Silver's going to rally. I'd be in silver right now. I was like, well, what does he know, right?
Turns out quite a lot. Well, I actually remember this from doing a sort of gold and silver comparison video a few months ago, and the gold silver ratio is generally quite consistent. So I don't think the outperformance or silver's all-time high is necessarily much of a surprise. But I mean, it both kind of underlines the fact that we are very much in a risk-off environment. And we should point out as well that actually stock futures were down this morning too, weren't they?
Yeah. Some other news that may have also had an impact, minor impact, is the concerns around the Chinese economy. So they had PMI numbers which showed a contraction in non-manufacturing activity for the first time in nearly 3 years. So that could be some concern in the region for growth. But the overall takeaway is that global money is rotating from growth assets into funding tightens.
Yeah. And of course, our good friend Leverage, our old friend Leverage, had a part to play as well. Of course, once, the lessons of 1010 have obviously not been learned.
Who are they still finding to liquidate?
I know. I thought everyone had been liquidated.
Are the market makers just trying to sniff out the last few people who have any leverage anywhere?
They've gone down the back of the sofa and hurled that into perps. So yeah, obviously cascading liquidations played a part, as they always do. Now, a few of you have pointed out in the comments as well that Dan, our Gigabrain Dan over on Coin Bureau Trading, he's not so much on board with the Japanese government bonds idea. He is more inclined to believe that there's some tax loss harvesting going on.
There could be, indeed. There's tax loss harvesting, and there's also potentially institutions that are trying to reposition portfolios ahead of the end of the year. They potentially may have been under on their Bitcoin trades and want to try and reallocate to a growth sector that they think they could try and recoup some of the losses, that they could get their investment targets and then earn their carry. Otherwise, they're going to go home poor. So that's one theory. It could be a combination of all of these as well. But I think this now warrants a bit of a discussion, Guy. And let's start. Do you think Bitcoin breaks an all-time high this December?
Well,
again,
yeah. I mean, up until fairly recently, I thought there was a decent chance that it would. But I mean, you look at as you pointed out, we now appear to be moving further and further into a risk-off environment. I think the fact that both silver and gold are running again. I think the fact that stocks, certainly stock futures are struggling, just suggests that we are becoming more and more risk off. And I kind of feel, I just don't feel confident anymore that we're going to see a new all-time high, certainly in December. 2026, Q1 2026 could be a different story, but my spidey sense tells me it's going to be a bearish December.
Yeah, I kind of agree there. I don't think an all-time high recovery this December is likely at all, unfortunately. Next year, a different story. But I guess this is the next question then is, are we in a bear market? Do you think we're in a bear market?
Well, yeah, I'm still kind of making up my mind on this one. But I'm kind of leaning more towards the fact that I think it's getting harder and harder to justify the fact that we're still in a bull market, if you know what I mean. It's like, the charts just seem to be painting a different story to that. And it's not just the charts. Obviously, you look at overall sentiment, you look at overall risk-off attitudes, in investing circles. It does seem to me, if we're not in a bear market yet, we are sliding towards one.
So yeah, technically, we've broken a lot of key levels, as I mentioned initially. Sentiment is very low. We've seen inflows to ETFs slow. We've seen the DAT unwind of the DAT trade. So there's many that would point to that. Obviously, alts are in a bit of a bear market right now. But I think that I can't convincingly say we're in a bear market right now, given the positive macro backdrop. And what I'm saying there is more specifically as it relates to global liquidity and what's going to happen in the next few months. You've got QT ending today. Let's not forget QT is ending today, quantitative tightening. You've got Fed rate cuts coming up in 2 weeks, almost guaranteed. You've got a new Fed chair coming in next year who's going to be uber dovish. They're going to run it hot. You've got potential changes to the bank SLR exemption. So basically the deposit ratio that could juice up liquidity. Chinese PBOC has also been very loose with liquidity. So if you believe in the theory that global liquidity drives risk assets, which it generally does, about 80% correlation with that, that still is looking positive. So it's hard to necessarily say that we're convincingly in a bear market with that kind of backdrop next year. So we have to see how we do in Q1.
Yeah. I mean, this has been this for me has been one of the really baffling things of 2025 as a whole, really, because we do seem to have had just a crazy amount of positive news. The sort of news that not so long ago we could only have dreamed of. and it has not stopped the bleed. Okay, Bitcoin reached a new all-time high. For alts, it's a completely different story, and now we're getting this Bitcoin sell-off again. That for me, it seems like a weird sort of, I don't know if you'd call it a contrarian signal, but it's sort of like, if we can't maintain some sort of strength in the face of all this good news, I kind of feel like maybe we've got lower to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And then also next year's an election year, and I don't know if we're going to get the Clarity Act. So look, but either way, guys, I think that the long-term hodl of Bitcoin's proven itself to be a strong investment strategy. And if you guys are looking to hodl your Bitcoin for the next cycle, then the best place to do that is in a hardware wallet. And the best hardware wallet we can think of is the Tagem hardware wallet. It's your all-in-one crypto card, no seed phrases, middlemen, or compromises, just tap and go. And you should also, speaking of Tagem, you should check out the latest interview that Aaron did with the CEO of Tagem Pay. Now, Tagem Pay is their new Visa card, which you can use to tap and pay for things, for merchants in a non-custodial fashion. So go and check that out.
Yeah.
And if you guys do want to collect your Tagem card and Tagem device, we've got an offer on for you with a 10% discount on an already attractively priced device itself. So just scan the QR code over there or hit the link in the description and you'll get 10% off your Tagem device.
Yeah. Bull market, bear market, it does not matter. You need your assets secure. You need to be using a hardware device, and Tagem is great. So, it doesn't matter what the market is doing.
Now, Guy, I got a very important question for you.
Okay. Hit me.
Do we really need another layer one?
Oh, God. Yes. Okay. Yes, that is a good question, Nick. And we are going to get into this. This is something, one of the big news stories of last week, certainly in crypto, was the launch of Monad, a brand spanking new, highly performant L1.
We need one of those. We haven't had those for a long time.
It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while. So there was a lot of excitement around this. There was a lot of chatter about it. Obviously, there were people farming airdrop points. There were people getting disappointed about the scale of the airdrop. People were speculating that it was going to be as big as Hyperliquids. And in the end, I think it was about 1/10 of Hyperliquids in size or something like that. And I guess it seemed like a bit of an odd time to be launching, given the, but I suppose, it's probably one of these things. There's only so long you can delay it before, investors and collaborators and stuff start to panic. So I guess they had to go live at some point. But yeah, obviously Monad's been in development for quite a long time. This launched last week. It's basically designed as a general purpose smart contract network, positioned as a competitor to the likes of Ethereum and Solana. You can see some stats there on screen: 10,000 TPS, 200 plus validators, etc., etc. And it launched on Monday. The total supply is 100 billion tokens.
Yeah, but at launch, it only had about 10.8 billion tokens. So about circa 10% was out in circulation, which therefore makes it a low float, high FDV structure, as we've become quite accustomed to. Yep. In terms of what the launch looked like, it launched during one of the weakest macro periods for the year for crypto. So let's be frank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it dropped around. It dropped pretty close to its public sale price.
Yeah. And early trading, the volume was about $50 million in the first 100 minutes, which is actually considered very, very soft for a new layer one debut.
Yeah. I mean, reflective of sort of wider market conditions. And obviously, as you can see from that chart, it has been kind of down only since then. It is trading pretty near its ICO price.
Yeah, but I think the biggest takeaway, and why we're addressing this right now, from the launch of Monad was, I don't think I've seen as much hate being thrown at a layer one launch for quite some time across all of crypto Twitter. Monad, they really got their place through the ringer there on the very skeptical crypto Twitter crowd.
Yeah, which I think is probably reflective of sort of broader market sentiment. I mean, let's face it, if the rest of the market was going absolutely gangbusters, if there were green candles all over the place, I don't think we'd have seen anything like that sort of hate. I think that is really very much a reflection of the fact that, a lot of people are just generally kind of pissed off and beaten down.
That's
because of the
true.
market.
But there are some criticisms around this. I mean, one of them is that there's no demand for this right now. It's just saturation of the altcoin space. But this assumes that we're getting everything we need right now from all the L1s and infrastructure that is provided.
Yeah. And it kind of assumes that the ones we've got, which are many, are kind of doing a good enough job. And I mean, if we take Ethereum, for instance, that's had its struggles. If we look at Solana, that's had its outages and stuff. I mean, it's been a while since the last one, but obviously, that is something to be concerned about. There are very few L1s that you can point to that have had an absolutely flawless run of it.
Yeah, exactly.
In recent months and years. So I guess the question is, does it make sense that we just keep throwing new L1s into the mix to see if we get one that kind of solves all of the issues?
Well, I think that to the extent that you currently have legacy infrastructure that isn't as scalable, or you can't really build a fast performant L1 on, and they have their own issues in terms of outages and things like that, or if an L1 team wants to come with a new product they think could be better, I don't think there's anyone out there explicitly saying you shouldn't be coming to the market. But I think the main thing people have an issue with is not an L1 per se, or a project team wanting to build something transformative. It's everything that comes with it. So the question of the insiders, the KOL rounds, the high FDV, low float meta, and the predatory nature of a lot of these launches, and some of the launches that have come to market that have been as hyped and completely rinsed retail. So I think that's everything that surrounds that, and not necessarily just the fact that a project team wants to build interesting infrastructure.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't think it's necessarily people are against the idea of teams trying to build, something better than we've already got. But yeah, it's sort of everything that comes with that. The fact that, this is then going to be released to the public. And of course, by that point, insiders are already up as soon as it launches. Those insiders start dumping. It just becomes a vehicle for sort of VC exit liquidity, and, just another way for retail to have some more money prized out of their fingers.
And there have been so many examples over the last year, Guy. I mean, even some of the most recent ones just this year. So I think there is merit in that argument. But what is really interesting as well was this breakdown. In response to all of this, Hasib, the head hype man over at Dragonfly, one of the general partners at Dragonfly, he released this long post on Twitter that basically came to the defense of in quote, in defense of exponentials, coming to the defense of these new project teams. Obviously, they've invested in Monad and all that. And it was really, I don't know if you read it, but it was a really interesting post. And I mean, for example, we can break it down for you in terms of the quick TLDR points, but basically what he's arguing is crypto today mirrors early e-commerce, and critics misunderstand the economic phase and underestimate the long-term scale and misapply nature market metrics, just as they did with Amazon before it proved the model itself.
Yeah. And there's a really interesting bit in that post, isn't it, where he's talking about one of his partners at Dragonfly, who was, VC investing during the .com era, and talking about the kind of conversations that they would have. What are these? How is e-commerce going to develop? Is it going to be big in this sector or this sector? Yeah. And of course, they were all completely wrong, because it went bigger than they could ever have imagined. They were imagining maybe particular sectors, maybe electronics or something, doing well out of e-commerce, and in fact, it was everything. So, and he points out that those who kind of stuck with it and did not sell were the ones who came out the winners. And there's a great chart in there, isn't there, that tracks Amazon's share price and its profitability. And I mean, Amazon was unprofitable for years. Yeah. Years and years.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Same with the likes of Uber and things like that. These household names, they had a long, painful road to the kind of ubiquity that we see now. So there's that. He also says we're kind of still near the bottom of the exponential curve. He says that crypto rewrites financial assets into software with global 24/7 settlement, and large allocators historically don't exit early from transformative technologies. So, there's, again, he sees this same sort of thing playing out, isn't it? It's like those who are able to stick with this will be rewarded further down the line. But it's a test of how much you can endure.
Yeah, and the core message is just long-term convictions. So ETH and Sol are foundational systems, and if exponential adoption continues, current valuations will look cheap in hindsight, despite present chaos and doubt.
Yeah. So, I mean, Haseeb is a great mind in the space. You've interviewed him before, haven't you?
Some time back, yeah.
And, you know, one of the good guys, I think. So it's really worth following him on Twitter. And if you want to listen to that post, he actually recorded it. They didn't do a chopping block episode. They didn't do a podcast episode because of Thanksgiving, but he actually is reading out that post. And if you go to the Unchained feeds, you could find it. Very much worth reading or listening to it, because I think it's a really strong argument from someone who, you know, really understands the space.
Yeah.
In terms of new L1s, I mean, you know, I'm kind of the opinion that it seems like everyone is building railways. You know, we've got one railway after another, and each one is promising to be, you know, that bit better, that bit quicker, or whatever. It's like we need trains to run on them.
We do, but if the trains need the right railroads to run on, because what they currently have isn't scalable or efficient enough for them to build to run properly. So this is the argument then, right? It's like we haven't developed the perfect layer one yet. I mean, but it's right. You can't just build infra for no sake, or for no use cases, for no TVL.
Yeah,
People
because that's not the way you get users. You know, you get users by having an app, you know, having a platform that they can go and play with and use for whatever purpose that is. And I kind of feel it's like we've got an embarrassment of riches when it comes to L1s. And let's face it, like the older legacy L1s, if you like, so the likes of Ethereum and Solana, you know, both of those teams are showing that you can upgrade. You know, you can change that infrastructure as you go along. I mean, Ethereum is kind of in a constant process of evolution. You know, they ship one complicated upgrade after another, which I think is testament to their team and obviously, you know, the number of people they got working on it. Solana, though, is doing similar things. You know, they're constantly updating. They've got Fire Dancer in the works, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not like these older L1s, you know, are standing still, but you just get another one in the picture and another way to, you know, extract some money from retail.
Yeah, but go and read that post by Haseeb, guys. And if it rejuvenates your interest in L1s and you want your interest in crypto again, and you want to take a play on the latest, hottest L1s, then the best place to potentially do that is on Bitget. And this now brings us to our ongoing portfolio competition. So this is what we're doing on Bitget. And right now, if you guys don't know how the whole MO, for the past month, we've been running a competition where we have a portfolio that started off as $5,000, and every single week we will sell out of the previous allocation, and then buy new altcoins to put into the portfolio through you guys by voting on it. In order to participate, and then at the end of the quarter, we give away the portfolio or whatever's left of it. Hopefully it's up.
Yes, whatever is left of it. Big caveat there.
Big caveat there.
Yeah.
And that's coming up in about a month. So if you guys want to participate, all you need to do is have a Bitget account and be watching the stream and also vote on these trades. And speaking of which, we're now going to pull up the vote for this week in terms of the coins you can allocate to. And you got 4 options, and they are USDT, stable in it.
Stay in stables.
Bitcoin, Monad,
okay.
or Hype.
Okay.
So there we go. The vote should be live right now. So speak now, or if you ever hold your peace, there on the YouTube live chat stream.
Yeah. And then, we'll vote on the proportion a little later on. Okay.
40% likes there, guy.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You are 40% of the way to me doing next week's stream in an Australian tash and possible Australian accent as well. So if you want more of that, you got to hit that like button. You got to pound it. You got to get the cricket bat out and give it a good whack. Will you do the whole
stream as an Aussie accent?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe people might start to switch off. Oh, maybe they'll like it more.
Maybe they'll like it more. They'll be like, wow, okay, guy's cousin Angus or whatever.
Maybe they'll be like, yep, guy has finally lost it. His brain has finally turned to mush. Okay, let's have a look at last week's top performers then. As usual, we have an interesting list. Nick, do you want to kick us off?
So the first one is Casper or CAS. So this is on top of the transaction throughput, which has increased dramatically. It suggests in actual usage. Is also minor selling has dropped a lot, and long-term holders are diamond handing, and sell-side liquidity on exchanges is very thin. So even relatively small amounts of buying have pushed up the price.
Yeah, and of course, you can't discount the very strong Casper community out there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we have Quant, another crypto with a strong community. I was looking into this. Exchange reserves are down. Futures open interest and unique addresses, though, are both up. And there seems to have been lots of testing of Quant Network's overledger by big banks, the likes of HSBC, Barclays, but also central banks like the ECB and even the Bank for International Settlements, the bank for central banks.
Wow. They're possibly testing out for the CBDCs they're going to deploy, right?
Yeah. So, it's interesting to see QNT pumping. Again, very strong community. What's next?
The next one is SPX 6900, the Murad Special. It's got the attention. It's a 150% increase in X mentions over the last week. And I think a personal theory is that the whole stop trading and believe in something mantra is in clear contrast to the launch of another high FDB low float project, which is, of course, Monad. And SPX is running off that, I suppose.
The reverse Monad, perhaps.
The reverse, yeah.
The inverse
Monad, yes.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I've heard crazier theories. Okay, next up, MYX Finance. Again, I think this is the 8th week in a row MYX has been on. There is an imminent V2 launch coming for MYX Finance. Trading volumes, fee revenue, both up, and there's speculation over a possible Binance Alpha listing as well.
Yeah. And then the final one is Sky. So this is the rebranded MakerDAO or MKR. Now this is on top of buybacks, which have been happening. And plus, staking rewards are now being denominated in Sky rather than USDS.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good old buybacks. Okay. So that is last week's top gainers. Now we need to close the poll on what coin people have voted for us to buy this week. So can we close that? What is the winner, guys? BTC.
Again.
Keeping it old school.
Third week. Landslide, really.
BTC by a landslide. I like it. Good to have a bit of consensus.
60%. So that's the third week in a row, right?
No, we bought Link last week.
Oh, Link. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, only down a little bit on that. So, okay, Bitcoin it is. So we will open a new poll now. Do we go 25% of the portfolio? Do we go 50%? Do we go 75%? Or do we full port that mother? Let us know. And whilst you're mulling that over, we are going to hit you, as ever, with some fast-paced TA from none other than Lewis himself. So
let's roll.
Let's do it.
Arts and trends, he'll show the way. Lewis brings the TA today.
What's going on, guys? Okay, so I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that if you look at the total market cap chart and pay attention just to this line right here with the big green box around it, the diagonal one, you could see that we actually bounced off of it in August 2024, in September 2024, in April 2025, and every single time that we bounced off of this line, this cycle, it's marked the low, literally the bottom of that portion. And now we are at that line, like we're literally tapping it, or we just tapped it. So because we just tapped this line and this is the total market chart, it's really hard for me to say, hey, we should sell now, because we're at such a major support, which is good. The thing that's a little scary about it is that it's fallen below the November 2021 highs, and which was right here. And so I would really like it to come back above there. That would make me feel so much better. And if it does, then I would target at least 3.29 trillion for the total market cap. And that's probably where I'd be wanting to take some of my profits, or a lot of my profits. And not only that, but the total 2, which is everything excluding Bitcoin, is at a pretty good horizontal support resistance area. So you can see big resistance back in March, April of 2024, and then again in May of 2024, huge resistances, and then finally it turned into support in February 2025, back into resistance in May 2025, and now back into support, or at least it's holding as support for total 2. So I do really, really like that, and it sort of makes me more prone to actually be buying now. Then we have total 3, and total 3, another diagonal support that we're literally sitting on right now, which if we break this, it's gonna really suck. I'm not gonna lie. If we break this, it's ouch, but we tapped it in August 2024, September 2024, November 2024, and we rallied from it every single time. Same thing with April 2025, and so we're here and we're at the support. So I'm really hoping that we get a bounce from this level. That it would really be great. And so that's the good news. Okay. The bad news is that if you look at the Bitcoin chart from a time-based perspective, I know everyone, like a lot of people should already know this. We've actually crossed the 4th cycle high on a time-based perspective. So basically, if you look at the third cycle low to the 3rd cycle high, that was 1,057 days. Okay, and if you take the 4th cycle low to the 4th cycle high, presumably at 126,000, that was 1,057 days. Okay, not exactly. It was actually a little bit shorter than that, but it was pretty much the exact amount of days, right? Actually, wait a minute. Is this the right way? This might actually be the exact amount of days. Okay, no, it wasn't. It was just shy of it, but within a week or 2 weeks max, right? So because we have the time-based, factor in here for Bitcoin, and you have obviously the gigantic diagonal resistance trend line, right? And you have the bearish market structure break on the weekly time frame. These are just like a whole bunch of things that have lined up to sort of make me think not think, but just like from my analysis, yeah, we're in a bear market at this point, at least for Bitcoin. And I mean, obviously altcoins, most altcoins as well too. So with saying that, I'm probably going to be wanting to get out on a bounce. What I'm hoping is that we get a bounce like really, really high to like 107,000, or maybe I'm not going to say 113 because that's ridiculous, but at least like 100, 105. That would be awesome. But I'm going to be scaling out before then just to be sure, because things are obviously pretty worrisome right now. However, even with all of this, there are still a lot of opportunities, or I guess there are still some opportunities that come up. And, I was looking through some charts. I saw SPX 6900, a super, super popular coin, Murad's top pick this cycle, right? And if you look at it, first off, look at it on the high time frame, like a weekly chart, and you could see it came back down into the most massive support area that it's had. This should actually be green. And it came back down there and it reversed from there, and it went up 75% from the lows, which is nothing to scoff at. 75% is crazy, right? And if you go down into a lower time frame, you could see that, it was going down. It made a low, a high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then bam, it made a higher high, finally made a higher high. And now I'm hoping it makes a higher low, because essentially this higher high, and this has happened on a lot of different coins, right? This higher high signifies that there might now be a change in the trend. And I know it seems crazy. It's like, how can there be a change in the trend if the overall picture is bearish? But there's different time frames, and people really need to understand this. I could be super, super bullish on the low time frame, within a few days, but I could be bearish over, let's say a few weeks, right? And so I want to capture these moves over, maybe it's 5 days or 6 days or something like that. Maybe it's a week, but I want to be cautious enough and smart enough to take my profits just in case it's a fake out, or just in case, it comes all the way back down to make a double bottom. There's a whole lot of things that could happen, right? But things, there are opportunities if you know how to look for them and where to look for them, and you just say to yourself, look, I'm going to follow a system, a proven system. I'm going to get in at major supports. Like this area is a major support. It's a liquidity zone because it was underneath this giant wick. So many things happened. It formed a bullish candle. There's a lot of things. It broke through the downward trend line. So using technical analysis, it's still working in these markets, right? It's pretty crazy. So that's why I always say everyone should learn technical analysis. And so that's why, it's good to go through all the different charts and see which ones have a lot of potential and see which ones, at least from a technical perspective, look good. Because fundamentally, from like a market-wide perspective, everything obviously is pretty bad right now. So if you could at least get one thing that looks good, like the technicals, at least that could increase your probability of being right if you are bullish on a coin, given the current macro technical environment that we're in. And so, yeah, to sum it up, we're at big support levels on a few different charts, and we're actually seeing a little bit of bullishness in some altcoins like the one I just showed you. So I'm looking for longs, but obviously, you got to be cautious and make sure that you're using proper risk management and everything like that. But right now, I'm long and I'm just waiting. So fingers crossed. And with that, back to you guys.
Bullish on the SPX there, huh? SPX 6900, eh?
Well, wow. Okay. I got to say I admire Lewis at the for being sort of quite contrarian at the moment, because I would look at that chart and I would not be long. But good for him. Good on you, Lewis.
Well, it's a higher high
and
now, right?
obviously he knows he's forgotten more about TA than I will ever know. So let's see. Okay, shall we have a look at some tweets of the week?
Yeah. Firstly, didn't say. What did he buy? How much is it? 11.7 million. It ain't much, but it's something.
It ain't much, but I got to respect him for this. He's bought just enough BTC to take it up to 650,000 exactly. And look, Nick, I'm not going to lie to you. That is something I would do. I do have a bit of a thing. I like to own like a round number.
Just a bit of OCD there. I need my Bitcoin stack to be 650,000.
Yeah. Stephen the Great Warrior, MSTR buys another 133 BTC, now holds 650K.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Crazy stack.
Thank you for sharing that, Stephen the Great Warrior. I'm sure you are indeed a great warrior. Okay, tweets of the week. What do we got?
First up, this is from none other than Mr. Tom Lee. Bitmine now has 3% of ETH supply, 2/3 of the way to the alchemy of 5%.
Okay.
Now, that could either be a euphoric moment or a truly terrifying moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it depends how you think how diamond-handed Tom Lee and Bitmine are.
Yes. It's Tom Lee's still out there. Good on him. He's still out there being the sailor of ETH.
He's making many more appearances now on CNBC with spamming the price predictions, albeit slightly adjusted down, slightly lower.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
I think he still thinks 125K this month, or by the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. His latest.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's hope he's right. Because that would be great.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is right. Okay. Next up, this takes us back. So, Charles Hoskinson, CEO, founder of Cardano, was visionary leader. He's basically been losing his rag a little bit on Twitter. You do understand what I do for a living, he replied to some hapless anon. I literally make decentralized central banks and rebuilt Wall Street on a blockchain.
Wow, I mean, talk about ballsy take, man. To be honest, I mean, I'm not going to even throw shade at that. Like, to have that amount of confidence on Twitter.
Yeah. Of course, one of the reasons why this gained a lot of attention, other than the fact that it's very funny, is that it called to mind for anyone who's been in crypto for quite a long time, a previous tweet that Charles put out a while ago. Now, this was in response to he was trying to get some help from MetaMask, I believe it was. So he tweeted at their support and they said, "Oh, can you use the support email? You're telling the CEO of IOHK, founder of Cardano and Ethereum, to use the support email." Just wanted to ask about the Chrome delisting. So there was a bit of nostalgia there for previous Charles tweets on the timeline.
And other people were leaning in with a bit of a copy pasta. Here's Solana. It's the Solana Twitter account. You do understand what I do for a living. I literally am a decentralized financial platform and rebuilt Wall Street on a blockchain.
It was a moment of it provided us with a lot of merriment at a time when prices were doing the exact opposite. So thanks for that, Charles.
But Charles did lean into it. He replied to Solana. I think he saw the humor in it, and like I say, ballsy tweets. I mean,
he's definitely got a sense of humor.
I like
Charles.
it. Yeah.
He's definitely he brings a lot of joy and merriment to the space, among other things. Okay, next up we have this one from Bob Lucas. Bob not bringing much joy and merriment to the space with this one.
Not at all. No, that's what a take on altcoins here.
Yeah, basically, Bob is very bearish altcoins, have a look through. If you don't follow Bob Lucas, he's another one you should follow because he's a very smart guy, doesn't hold back with his opinions. But yeah, that's a slightly more bearish take. Last up, we have this one from QW. Crypto bros are going to trade stonks and realize they are up against much more sophisticated counterparties.
So much more. The most advanced HFT systems known to man, manned by PhDs from MIT who've won Nobel laureates. Ken Griffin and the likes of Rentech quant engineers, basically with multi-million, $100 million systems and ML machine learning algorithms, and you're going to be there on your Wall Street bets going, I'm going to beat Ken Griffin at this game.
And as a former TradFi guy yourself, you know of what you speak. You will have encountered some of this.
These guys, But I did see some interesting responses to that tweet. It's like, it's fine. I don't mind my portfolio being down by 30% by these guys. It's better than 60%. I mean, in crypto.
There is that.
I'd be wrecked by one wick on a 10-10 instead of like...
Yeah. I mean, is it worse to be, is it worse to have your ass handed to you by, some Wall Street quants or by, some spotty teenagers?
Who's rugged you on a meme coin?
Yeah.
I'd rather be outdone by the quants with PhDs than by the guy living in his parents' basement, basically, drinking Red Bull.
Exactly. And some dates for the diary for this week. We got one today, right?
Yeah, today Powell is speaking at 8 p.m. It's a speech at the Hoover Institution's George P. Shultz Memorial Lecture, and possibly get some indication of how he's feeling. Bullish, dovish, hawkish, or bullish, bearish, whatever, which way you want to look at it. And bulls, of course, want dovish signals for a swift rate cuts to pressure the dollar and support Bitcoin. And then tomorrow, we've got the Chainlink or Link ETFs are launching.
Okay.
There we go. For the Link Marines, got something to look forward to.
Okay. Right. And we've also, of course, as I mentioned, it's the 3rd of December. Apologies. I said it was the 5th. I lied. The 3rd of December, so Wednesday, Ethereum's Fusaka upgrade. Now, this upgrade will bring major improvements to Ethereum's scalability, security, and user experience.
Wow.
So what it probably won't do is do much for ETH's price, but...
We can only hope.
Maybe. But it's good news nonetheless.
And then on the 5th of December, we've got, as I mentioned, the PCE numbers, so the Fed's preferred inflation measure. Keep an eye on that because that could give some indication how inflation is shaping up prior to the FOMC meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so it is time to close the poll on how much of the portfolio we are going to put into Bitcoin. What? We're going 100%. We're full porting into BTC.
Jeez,
I love it.
I mean, guys, but you guys do know this is a portfolio you want to win. So
I think this just really underlines the full nihilism that is going on here. So let me see if I can add this to the stage. We have the portfolio page. We are on Bitcoin. We are going to do a market buy. Boom.
All or nothing, 100%. Bro. Let's just go.
Buy BTC. YOLO.
Jesus, take the wheel. Let's go.
Okay.
There we go.
You called it. I'm here for that. I love that. Well done, everyone. Okay, and I think have we got anything else for this week, Nick? Anything else we want to talk about?
Well, 60%, so I don't think you're going to be... Your beard will live another day.
No dodgy accent and no dodgy moustache next week. You guys didn't want that? You didn't want to go for that? I don't blame you. Okay, so, all right, well, we'll see. We'll come up with a different one for next week. Meanwhile, Orb360, guys, seriously stop wearing white shirts, damn it. What's wrong with a white shirt? This is literally the least offensive piece of... Look at the man opposite me. Well, you want me to dress like Little Red Riding Hood here?
Bro, you got to mix it up, man. You got to mix it
What is wrong with a
up.
white shirt?
You got to mix it up, bro.
It's the simple man. I'm a simple man, as Brett and many others delight to point out all the time. I like to keep things simple.
Plain vanilla.
Yeah.
You know? You get what you order. You guys come here, you get what you order. You know what you want.
Yeah, I didn't know they had bouncers at Chuck E. Cheese, but apparently you look like one.
I would love to know that's interesting.
Yeah.
Bouncers at Chuck E. Cheese. Why do they need bouncers at Chuck E. Cheese?
I don't know. I mean, I can only assume things get pretty violent in there on a Tuesday afternoon.
Wow. Okay.
God Candle. Trains. This is my analogy about trains and rail tracks instead of L1s. Certainly something to chew over. God Candle is absolutely terrible. I felt I really needed to embarrass you on that one, but I mean, that's brilliant. You're hired. When can you start?
Bro.
That's the
need
sort
a new
of talent
script writer.
we need
There
here.
we go.
Yeah. And Oz Crypto, is it Oz Cryptocurrency? These dumps, I should read this in an Australian accent, these dumps have all been orchestrated and manipulated by McDonald's because they need more workers.
There is a shortage going around. There has been a shortage going around with all those AI stocks near all-time highs. So they got to come to the crypto community for that. And there we go. Ronald McDonald has conspired with Wintermute to dump the price of Bitcoin.
Interesting. I knew it. Now, this is an interesting theory from someone whose name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Green dots from Saylor means he has a 1.44 billion USD reserve for paying dividends. Could that signify dividend payments? The green dots?
Well, so what is the green dots meaning he's adding to the chart in terms of cash pile for dividends, or what would the green dots imply? I mean, maybe there's a tweet or something of that description. I don't know, but how would that be placed on the chart?
I'm not quite sure, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. Okay, and let's have a look. Are there any more comments? Someone was saying Australia 5, England 0. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably right. Second test starts soon, Nick, as you'll no doubt be delighted to hear.
I couldn't wait for it, man. I've been waiting for a
you're
long
so excited.
time.
We may not be able to put out any content on any Coin Bureau channel over the next week or so because of the second test starting in Australia. Anyway, that is it for this week, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. Maybe it'll be better next week. Who knows?
Can only go up from here. Hopefully. Hopefully.
Don't say that, Nick. Don't say that. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Did guy lose all of his luggage while traveling? Is that why he looks homeless? Ready to party? Is guy in better condition this week? One shot every time someone says bottom. Greatest video today, back from Goblin Town. Greatest video today, my cat greets you all. Greatest video today, back from Goblin Town. Greatest video today, my cat greets you all.
Why did you say it can only go up? Why did you say that?
I'm trying to be optimistic.
Why would you say that? Are you insane?
I'm trying to be optimistic.
Oh,
you were the one who said you weren't going to talk